Thanks,
This
Craig.
Craig. That's that's Craig. Craig records all
Yeah, I
of our
thought Craig was a
conversations
real
for us.
person.
Craig is a real
You,
person.
you fucking got me. Um, Craig is the multi-track voice channel recording bot for disc. Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
fuck. I feel
yeah.
so old. Um,
He's
to us,
he's just a
yeah,
guy.
go
He
on.
just comes in and listens to us all talk.
Yeah.
Like
Silent but appreciative.
welcome to the podcast, both Matthew and Luke from Mitty Theme Parks.
Yay!
Thank you.
Oh, wow, that was an entrance. Say,
I
Yeah.
cheered myself. Were you not cheering yourself, Luke?
no, I
Just
didn't.
Kieran cheering us.
Yeah, that was. I think so. Where's the golf clap? There we go.
There we go. Lovely.
Wow. We're getting really fancy here.
Mm.
We got sound effects. We got everything.
It's one of the things that comes with production values.
Yeah, which we have a lot of. Obviously, we're
Totally. Yeah.
investment into this podcast. This is the first time we've had either of you on either of our channels.
Yeah.
So, who are you?
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh, no.
Matthew, do you want to start?
Well, I'm Matthew, aka Mitty. And Luke is a guy that I met when we were filming. We were both filming the TNT and Project Zero get built, just probably different ends of the park, and then we became friends from there. So I've had my channel for like 12 years or something now, but since then Luke's jumped on and he's helped, and we do TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Awesome.
Amazing. That's definitely where I got to know your channel from. Was following along with the construction of TNT and Project Zero, because you were one of probably the main news source going around for me at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty lucky. I don't think there's too many enthusiasts in Melbourne that were willing to drive down to Pakenham every weekend, so I had a bit of an advantage there.
And also high quality POVs as well is also what I associate with your channel too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Matthew's pumping up your tires there. It's good.
No, it's actually the POVs have gotten better since Luke jumped on, because I didn't realize he could do more than 30 frames per second. So that's where the quality's come from.
Matthew is true about the 30 frames per second. I'm disappointed now that I've heard this.
I'll look at any of my older videos. It's probably all 30 frames per second. So, and anything that spins too much is actually all Luke's recording.
Oh yeah. Matthew doesn't like the spinny rides, so he puts me on them.
Yeah,
with the GoPro
and I
mouse.
stand there and watch him.
Yeah.
I should start using that trick. Then I wouldn't have to ride the bad coasters. I just have to find somebody to do it for me.
Yeah, I'm the ones left on my list. There are quite a few bad ones that I've got to do, so that'll be a fun trip.
What's left on the list?
So I'm going to go down to Adventure Park Geelong in December, and then a quick trip followed back to Perth to do Dragon Express, because I missed out on doing it the first time that I was there.
Bro,
yeah, nice.
Dragon Express is the worst coaster in Australia, and have you done
so
it,
glad.
Jake?
I have. It is so bad. It is so awful.
Thank you. Someone else. I went on it thinking that this was going to be a credit. I just get it done. It's a Zamperla. I've done the thing at SeaWorld. It's apparently the same model. It is definitely not. This is like the dark days of Zamperla, and
which there have been many.
The thing should not be open. It was that violent. Like, I honestly, we're not overstating this. It is an awful ride. Awful, awful, awful. I don't know what went wrong, but somebody got mad and like bent the tracks the wrong way. I don't know. It's like a disgruntled worker built that thing.
I think you can
So
see
it's
it in my POV from when I went to Adventure World because I filmed it from like the second row. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll go back and get a front row POV later. But I refused to ride that thing again. But you can see the kids in the row in front of me getting slammed against the side of the car on that final
Oh.
turn.
Oof.
Yeah.
What do you think
Yeah,
the issue is? Is it the track profiling? Is it the cars? What is it?
It's the track profiling, I think. They didn't get that, particularly that last bend where it comes down off the helix and into the station. For some reason they bank it and make it kind of funky. Well, it like obviously it is the same model as SeaWorld's, but SeaWorld's one is much newer and they've gotten rid of that problem. Um, and it's just it's atrocious. You come into that turn with a lot of speed and you just get absolutely slammed repeatedly.
it feels like a car crash. I think just like anything on the carnival circuit in terms of a coaster rides better than that thing in Australia. Like even that Nitro coaster or whatever on the East Coast. Um,
Mm.
the one that famously hit that lady who went to grab her phone. That one.
Ah, right. The Rebel
Ah,
coaster.
yes.
Yeah, Rebel Coaster.
the
Sorry,
Rebel,
yeah, it
yeah.
used to be called Nitro Coaster. Yeah, Rebel Coaster rides better than infinitely better than that thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it's atrocious.
Also, the
Well,
SeaWorld Zamperla has a lot more generous restraints as far as a kiddie coaster goes. Like you're
yeah,
definitely more likely to fit on SpongeBob than Dragon Express. That's for sure.
you can see where the 12 years of improvements have come from. Like they've actually credit to Zamperla, they've actually kind of fixed it.
yeah, I like that model. But a little SpongeBob coaster. I think it's a good fun ride. If you can get a seat without being scolded by the parents looking at you like, "What are you doing here without a kid?"
And because you can only do
Uh,
like one adult per row, can't you, on that ride?
That's correct.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. So a group of
I think it's the
thieses to
same
take the
deal
entire
with
train.
it's the same deal with Big Red Boat.
Oh, is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
only
I
one
haven't
adult
been
per
up
row.
since then. Yeah.
yeah,
So Gambara
I
World's family rides on.
the last time I was at SeaWorld was with Riley from That's So Mid and Chris from Airtime Thrills when he was over here. I dropped down to meet him and spend the day at SeaWorld with him. And it was Chris, his brother, Riley, and me all on the same train on SpongeBob because obviously Chris had to get the credit. Um, and yeah, so we took up. I don't know. I don't remember how many cars that train has, but we took up four of them, just four adult thuzies, just sitting
Yeah,
in
I never got
SpongeBob,
to do it.
rooting for the
Yeah,
best.
because we
Have you
went
done
up.
it?
Oh,
Have you,
Oh, what were you saying?
Matthew, have you done it?
No, because when we went up together, we had so Luke and I were up there February last year, and there was like a group of other thuzies there too. And I remember we got in line, and like Luke said, all the parents stare at you because like there's all these adults in line. And I was like, no, I can't do this, and I left.
Yeah, it's basically rope drop SpongeBob and then go to Leviathan. Yeah, you're basically gonna. It's the best way to do it anyway because Leviathan hardly ever opens an opening.
yeah, it really
I
does
wish
open on
I'd
time.
taken that advice on board when I did SeaWorld because the line I think it was a longer queue on SpongeBob than it was for anything else in the park.
Yeah, it does get a long line. I don't know either.
I think it's just mainly because it's like the thing that parents can take any of their kids on pretty much.
Mm.
Yeah, it's accessible, but it's just so it gets such a long line, and that queue is really unpleasantly hot too because it's just like these two umbrellas are the only shade.
Yeah. And if
It's a
you're in
nasty
there at the
spot.
height of summer, you're not gonna have a good time.
Actually, that's something SeaWorld's really awful at. Like with the exception of Leviathan and Storm Coaster, Their queues are
Shade is
all
not their strong
really,
point.
yeah, shade is not good. And actually Storm Coast is really unpleasant too because it's so humid inside that building.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's
Jet
Really
Rescue
I'd
thought
hit
of
say
and
it
miss
that
as
way,
far as the
actually.
shade too.
well, yeah, Jet Rescue's just got that little those umbrellas. And you're
Mm,
like if you're in the wrong spot and you're not underneath one of those umbrellas, you're just standing there getting sunburned.
totally.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Oh,
found with Trident the rain and the sun still comes in. So unless you're in the perfect spot.
Trident was under Renault's, well, like, what do you call it, maintenance when I was there, so I didn't get to experience it. But from what I understand, it's not unusual that it's down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it seemed to
cheaped
be
out
down
on
a
that
lot.
ride model, I think. They went with the cheap option. And
And
they're
also
regretting it, I think.
for the location of where SeaWorld is, that to put in a ride that's dependent on weather and wind is probably not the best choice.
Yeah. Yeah, you get some brutal winds across that part of the Gold Coast.
Luke actually operated a similar type of ride not long ago. Did you? You didn't have any issues with that, did you, Luke? In terms of wind?
So we just recently had the Royal Melbourne show or Melbourne Royal. What's it called now, Matthew?
Oh, they
They
changed the
changed the
name.
name. Melbourne Royal. It's now called the Melbourne Royal Show.
Okay.
And which is like I don't know where you guys are from, Sydney or Queensland or whatever. So like the Easter show or the Ekka. And they had the new Skyfly XXL there. Not sure if you guys are familiar. It's a new 60-meter tall Skyflyer, so it's much taller than Trident, and it's transportable
Nice.
on 3 trucks. And I decided to take a break from my desk job and go and do ride ops for the show, and got put on that ride, and it was a very interesting experience just to see how everything works at the show and how different it is to our theme parks, and how different laws affect, like different safety laws are. Sorry, I've just got a blank. Yeah, like just how different safety laws are implemented in that scenario compared to a permanent ride in a theme park.
Okay.
It was all very interesting. Yeah,
Would that change
That's
from state to state?
I would believe so. I think even permanent theme park safety rules change from state to state, because I've heard a lot of things about Queensland's laws being a lot more stricter um, than other states as well. And you can tell, like, there are certain things that we see at Gumbai World that, or Fun Fields or Adventure Park or even Luna Park, that we're like, this wouldn't probably fly on the Gold Coast. Like, I think everything on the Gold Coast now, because of the incident and because of the huge um, interstate tourist market, it needs to be the best. You know, like we've got such a high safety standard in Oz across the board, but I think just everything is quite perfect up on the Gold Coast compared to the other parks. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah, that
agree.
would
I
that
think it's it also you see it in the rules they have around GoPros and that sort of thing. Like as soon
mm,
as you go to any of the Melbourne parks, or if you go to, like, with the exception of Luna Park, if I remember correctly, and then Luna Park Sydney and Adventure World, they'll all let you take a GoPro on a ride to some extent with some rules, like maybe it has to be chest mounted or whatever. But Gold Coast, absolute no go. And you could try your luck and ask in advance, but the last time I was there, I was not even remotely close to being able to have the kind of leverage I would need to be able to get POVs there. But and then going to Europe, going everywhere else in the world, they're all very like, yeah, if you've got a GoPro and you've got a chest mount or you've got a proper wrist mount, go ahead. So I agree, Queensland is very, very strict.
Mm. Yeah, I've noticed the
and
same. But even then, like with Project Zero slash Buzzsaw, I don't know if this would have been different when it was in Queensland, but when I last rode it, you walk across the train to drop your things off at the other side. Whereas you're not allowed to do that at Project Zero. You're not allowed to actually pass the train until you're leaving the ride, which was
oh,
interesting. Yeah, so
That's
you have to.
different because that's how we did it when I went to Gambaya World.
That
Wait,
you could pass the train.
I don't
Yeah,
think
well,
Matthew explained himself correctly there.
Maybe you try,
like,
Luke.
oh, do you mean the loose articles issue?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
Mm.
Oh, okay. Well, this kind of goes against what we were just saying. How like here things are more lax or more relaxed. Because they've got
In
this
some aspects, they
weird.
are. Yeah.
Oh, in some aspects they are, but then they've got this weird rule now. And this came in a bit later in the game, maybe like a year ago. Would you say, Matthew?
Yeah, I think it was after the first summer season.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they don't allow you to take like you're supposed to, any normal situation, you'd walk across the train, put your stuff on the other side of the platform, and then re-enter the train, sit down, put your harness on. Now they want you to give all your loose articles to the ride ops, and then the
You have
ride
like
ops
tubs. Yeah.
have tubs that they then take across the train
Oh,
and put on the other
okay.
side.
Yeah, I think that's
Which
what happened, but I didn't put two and two together.
and it's
I
just
thought,
stupid because I shouldn't say this. Maybe I'm being too honest. I don't know who's going to listen to this, but there are some times where we've got pretty heavy backpacks because we carry cameras,
Mhm.
as the nerdy enthusiasts we are,
Yeah.
and they end up just like allowing us to take it across anyway. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre thing that I'm guessing it's coming down from someone from safety above, and
No, it was from WorkSafe, wasn't it?
work safe. That's correct. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
so it
we
was
got
out of
told.
their control, apparently, because the step from the train to the platform is too big, and like WorkSafe deemed it as an unnecessary risk for you to step across. So yeah, it's
Right.
interesting that there's some rules where it seems like we're really relaxed, but there are other ones where I don't remember that being a thing in Queensland. I'm pretty sure you could walk across it.
I'm just gonna ask sort of then what's the difference between disembarking from the ride?
Because that's necessary. So I think they were saying like it's unnecessary for you to have to do it twice. You only really need to do it
Right.
once.
Okay.
Or it's
That-
the case that you're holding on to heavy items or your loose belongings as you also um, jump on the train, which is a hazard. So if you take away
Okay.
one part of that hazard, yeah,
Mm.
it's stupid. It sounds a bit over the. It is over the top.
Thinking about Project Zero as well, it could be a design thing because I know that train is quite like it's elevated a little bit off the platform. If you compare that to something like what they've got on the Gold Coast, particularly the newer ones, if you're boarding Steel Taipan or DC Rivals, that train actually like it's almost at the same level as the platform, so the
Yeah,
trip
it's pretty
hazards
flush.
practically non-existent. Um, so I suppose that could be it as well. But yeah, it's that's an interesting one. It does seem sometimes like work safe for WHS or whatever it's called in whatever state you're in. They seem to just be in Australia. They get to the point where they're just if there's even the remotest risk, if you can possibly imagine something happening, then we have to mitigate that risk because apparently we're at the state now where if if some kid trips over, then that's grounds to be sued or whatever.
This is no action park. Yeah, it's
Mm.
it's crazy. I mean, it's the right thing to do to be safety conscious, but yeah, sometimes you're thinking, is it interfering with the flow of operations and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That was half of my experience as a ride operator at Luna Park Sydney. It was all stuff that was outside of management's control, but it was them just consistently changing policies and saying you have to do it this way now, and operators getting more and more frustrated with being like that doesn't make sense. All that's really doing is just making my job more difficult and more nightmarish. Um,
Mm.
particularly with the new rides at the time, because I was operating from just before Big Dipper opened. Particularly Big Dipper was very very new, and it was a prototype. So Intamin were making adjustments to the manual as they went as well, and it was very like that operating procedure changed so much from the first time I operated it to the last. it was a frustrating place to be sometimes.
Interesting.
Right.
I see you've worked at Luna Park Sydney for a while. Are you still working there, or?
No, so I left there in mid 2023, and I'm traveling the world to ride roller coasters now. But since then, I did spend 6 months operating at Emerald Park in Ireland,
Oh,
which is where I
wow.
am currently. Yeah, that was the first when I first moved to Ireland, because it was the first stop that I chose on this big worldwide travel thing I'm doing. I was like, okay, well, I know where I'm going to apply for a job. I've got ride operating experience, and I want to be involved again. So I applied straight there, and yeah, I was lucky enough to get the job.
Sick.
Yeah, it was a lovely place to be.
Is there a do you guys have a agenda? Did you want to talk about certain things? Sorry, I feel like we went on a massive tangent.
No, that's the name of the game with this podcast. We get sidetracked completely. Where we just talk about absolute bullshit. So if you want to talk about your favorite shape flavor, well, I'm 100% down for it.
Hey, Matthew, what's
You
your
had that
favorite
one
shape
prepared.
flavor? That
Ah,
seems like
favorite. Cheese and bacon. Oh, Vegemite. That's the underdog of shapes, I think.
I don't even
There's
know
a
that about you, Matthew. That's a strange answer.
I think the
I don't know if
ultimate underdog for shapes is the savory flavor.
Very
Because no one can
versatile.
pinpoint what it is, but it's like an oniony sesame flavor is the best way that I can describe it. And it's not really going to sell with that name.
Oniony sesame. Yeah. I use it as like a dip chip.
Yeah, it's a perfect
So
dip
it's
chip.
whatever flavor your dip is.
Yeah. Dips. Now there's a question. What's the best, what's the best kind of dip out there, and why is it a cob loaf?
Okay, yeah, I'll grant you cob loaf. I was about to go on a whole tangent about flavored hummuses, but
That's a
I
big
do prefer
market.
cob loaf. It is, and I am yet to find a bad one.
Yeah,
I've
no, neither.
I've loved every single one I've tried.
What's your favorite?
Ooh, that's a good question. There's a spicy one that they have here in Ireland. I believe it's chili, jalapeno, and something else, and that is beautiful. It's probably my favorite at the moment.
See, the only thing I think of when you talk about flavored hummuses is that vine of the girl going, Sabra gives you all your daily nutrients, like 0 grams of trans fat, and oh my god, cholesterol.
What? You're gonna have to send us a link or something. I've never seen it.
I was about to say the same thing because when you first started that, I had no idea you were talking about. I was like, I'm just gonna let this happen. But I do remember, oh my god, cholesterol. Um, Essentially, it says 0 milligrams of cholesterol on the packaging, and so it says OMG cholesterol.
Oh, okay.
That's clever. I like it.
I'm always 100% down for a Vine reference. Maybe that's my toxic millennial trait.
Vine. Oh no, I think there's someone over 31 in the chat. Or maybe we're the same age. I don't know because I
Red
think
for filth.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
It's all
please
friendly.
continue.
It's all friendly banter.
Absolutely.
So a coaster world trip, Jake. How I've got so many questions. The first one I'm going to fire out, which is probably none of my business, but how the hell are you affording that?
By the skin of my teeth.
You're
So
homeless.
basically, no. So I currently my situation is that I'm working just originally I was working at Emerald Park. At the moment, I'm working another job in a hotel reception. I've got a working visa here in Ireland, so just working and traveling at the same time. And my plan after this is to start doing some volunteering roles that provide accommodation while I travel. So I'm not going to reveal where that's going to take me next because I kind of want that to be a surprise, but that's the plan for after this visa expires.
Very interesting. Very cool.
Yeah.
I wish I did more of that in my, I guess, early 20s. The biggest regret I have is not doing the Disney college program when I was at uni. So
Mm.
even
For
though
GP listeners, can you elaborate on what the Disney College
oh,
program is?
oh, GP listeners.
And for me,
Do we have any
Oh,
of
the
them?
Disney. Yeah, I feel like this is because you
what?
guys, both your channels and Matthew's channel. Oh, our channel. Matthew, is it our channel?
It's our channel, yeah. You
Okay.
are Mitty now.
We are Mitty.
Yes. Off topic. The last time I went to Gumbaya World by myself. Oh no, Matthew came late. That's right. And some ride operator was like, "Are you Mitty Theme Parks?" And I was like, no, I'm Luke, and not the real Mitty. Like, there's Matthew. Anyway, it just yeah. But then when Matthew showed up, she didn't want anything to do with Matthew. Like,
Yeah,
I
no.
wish.
And let the record show again, because we're filming a video at the moment for Project Zero. It was really interesting. And I'm standing off ride filming it, and Luke goes to ride it, and she's like, "Oh, we're filming a video." And it seems like whenever he's alone with her, she's interested in the channel, and when I'm nearby, she doesn't get it.
You're
um,
losing your identity.
Yeah,
You're
I am,
slowly
but
becoming Mitty Theme Parks.
I think
we
we
are
look
just
similar
one.
enough.
Yeah, we also look similar as well. So it's
You're going
Sorry,
to
what was I
merge into the
talking
one entity.
about?
Yeah.
Next time we have this podcast, we'll just be one Discord user.
The Disney University or something.
Oh yes, that sounds better than what it is. The Disney College program, where they sell you the dream of working 6 or 12 months at I think it's just the Orlando parks, the Walt Disney Resort, Walt Disney World Resort, um, and it's for they have, I think it's like the Australia New Zealand Disney College program. So down here they offer to university students, um, I don't know, like a 6 month or a 12 month stint at the Walt Disney World Resort where you work essentially for pennies, and you pay for your accommodation there as well. Like you basically rent. So your rent comes out of your pay, and but you get to work at the Walt Disney World Resort. How does that sound? Oh, you also have to pay for your flights to get there and back, and
Oh,
probably all your food. So in the
oh,
end, usually you come out like I've heard people say you break even, but
Right.
I mean you get to be in Orlando. So for me, that's why I would have done it because um, just being there for 6 to 12 months and being able to visit all the parks in that area and I guess working for Disney would have been um, great in some ways and also horrible in others. I've heard both good and bad from that program, but yeah, I think for me it would have been just the best 6 to 12 months of just theme parks and making connections and talking to people and there's a lot of enthusiasts up there. Would have been great.
I mean,
Awesome.
Orlando for 6 to 12 months sounds fantastic to me.
Being
I
able to
reckon
really
it would be.
experience all those parks, yeah, for sure, and not just like fly through them.
Mm.
Yes.
Almost that you wouldn't have to fly through them because you've got 6 to 12 months. Like if you've got the time to spend, you know, at one of the resorts rather than being like, okay, I'm in Orlando for 2 weeks or whatever you can afford, and being like, okay, we have to do SeaWorld this day, Universal this day, and this day. Like, yeah, I feel like that would be really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could take it at your pace. You'd probably get yourself, season passes to, or at least some sort of, annual pass or season pass to the parks all there, and you can just be like, oh yeah, I've got Saturday off. I go to Islands of Adventure for the day, but I know that in 2 weeks' time I've got another day off, so I don't have to worry about like getting everything in and buying
Mm.
express passes and all that. So, yeah.
Sounds like a dream. It really
Did
does.
Absolutely.
have you been to who's been to Orlando here?
I have not
I
been
have
to the
not.
United States yet.
Neither.
Oh,
I've been to Disneyland Anaheim, but I've not been to any of the Orlando parks.
oh wow, okay. Cool. I did Universal Orlando and I did this. I did this when I was 19. I went and I didn't have a lot of funds, so I did uh, Disney Disneyland Resort in LA. I did Six
Yep.
Flags Magic Mountain in LA and Universal in LA, and then
Yep.
flew over to Orlando and did the 2 Universal parks at the time. The Volcano Bay wasn't open yet, and also did the Kennedy Space Center.
How was that?
That was really cool. I'm glad I did it actually for something different because at the end of that trip I was like, "This I've done a lot of theme parks and doing something a little bit more. Well, it is a bit of a touristy. It's very touristy and very patriotic and very American.
Hmm.
Like yeah, fuck yeah, we went to space kind of thing. Like the whole thing is about that.
Very rah
But it
rah.
was sorry.
Very rah rah America.
Oh, very, very patriotic, very like in your face. But it was, I think, very cool culturally to see that kind of aspect. Again, I was young, but I'd love to go. I need to go back because I didn't do Walt Disney World. I didn't do Busch Gardens, uh, Tampa, or what do they call it now? Is it called still Busch Gardens Tampa?
Yep. Busch
Yeah,
Gardens
that's
Tampa.
right. Or SeaWorld. Such a shame. But I think I need to go back for Epic Universe, which, oh my God. I'm sorry, Matthew. I know you're not. I'm talking a lot for Mitty.
You are Mitty.
Oh, sorry, that's right. Yeah. But Universal's Epic Universe or whatever what's the exact name?
I think that's correct.
It looks unbelievable. It's as someone who loves theme parks for their storytelling and more, I love the whole experience, not just the individual roller coasters or the individual rides, but how everything comes together. It's such a well thought out park, and
Mm.
their advertising, their marketing department, like everything that they've done for this park is just absurdly perfect. I don't know. That's my thoughts. I'm
It's
just
very
excited.
I don't
rare that
think
we
it's.
get to see everything coming together for a park from the ground up.
And
Yes,
It's
don't I don't think it's a stretch to say that it quite possibly could be the best theme park in the world when it opens, just based on how it's looking so far.
And its price tag. Luke was
Oof.
sharing some of the costs to get in.
and that's if you
not
want to
as bad.
stay in one of the cheaper hotels.
Surprisingly, though, not as bad as Disney, because Disney is the most premium theme park offering on earth. In America, that is. I know in Japan the Disney parks are a bit more affordable. Actually, probably a lot more affordable. But yeah, in America, Disney and Universal. Just I was looking at the prices. I'm like, oh yeah, that's like 500 Australian dollars for 2 days. Oh,
Oof.
Mm, ouch. Yeah,
yeah.
even in I recently did a little trip through France, and the question of whether I would go to Disney in Paris was it came up, and it's not that bad, but it is significantly worse than the other parks to the extent where it's like instead of to visit Park Asterix from memory was like 50 euro or something like that, 40 or 50 euro, but one of the Disney parks would have been about 80 euro, while both of them was 110, 120 or something like that. So yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, that's expensive. Is it basically double the Australian dollar? It's
Almost
like nearly.
almost double. €1, $1 Australian is 60 cents. So yeah, almost double.
Yeah, it's basically like the US sort of
Mm.
crossover.
Yeah.
Even worse, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, it would have been about, I would have spent about, maybe 70 or $80 on my Park Asterix ticket when I could have been, if I went to Disneyland, spending up to about 200 Australian dollars, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disneyland Paris wasn't cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, not at all.
It was fun though, but I do wish that I'd gone to Park Asterix.
Yeah,
was
I
just
would
sort of
recommend going to, if you're in Paris, I would recommend going to Park Asterix because I had the time of my life at that park and I didn't need to spend Disney prices.
And you probably got rides that I don't know. Have you been to Disney?
I've been to Tokyo Disney, but that was quite a long time ago at this point. So I'm
Okay.
starting to itch to go back to a Disney park, but it'll happen.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, go. Somebody else talk, please. I feel like I'm hogging the microphone. Anybody else have a Disney opinion other than myself?
the capitalist mouse must be fed.
Yep, that's all that needs to be said. I think you've summarized my thoughts exactly. Yeah.
uh, okay, actually, I'm going to take this opportunity because we have to
I
interrogate
know
you.
exactly what question is coming.
Yeah, so we have a very important question to ask because
Uh-oh.
there's a great injustice and a great tragedy happening in the roller
It's
coaster
a travesty,
world.
really.
Really is. It's a terrible, terrible thing. And so we're going to demand to know when we can expect Mitty Theme Parks to ride the Keith monorail.
Well, does it? I was listening to your episode you had with Riley. Does it count as a credit? Because I think he was saying it doesn't count as a credit.
He's the fact that he's started this as a question has offended me greatly.
Well, maybe I should go ride it. Luke and I wanted to do a bit of a road trip up through the eastern part of Australia and try to hit as many small little parks there. Maybe we should add it, Luke. What do you reckon?
Yeah, we were going to go from Melbourne up to Sydney, and not do the Gold Coast, just Melbourne, Sydney, and back. And then along the way, we'd hit things like Marimba's Magic Mountain, Jamboree, obviously Raging Waters, and Luna Park Sydney when we get to Sydney. But also there's a couple to there's like the Alpine coaster at Thredbo that just opened,
Mhm.
and there's like two toboggans, the Waygarn toboggans. But is this along the way? I just googled this, and
No, it's in Adelaide.
Oh,
we
yeah,
can
it's
add it.
better
We
to
just
Oh.
have to
just
drive past home and then go the other direction.
okay.
I would say
Um,
if you ever are doing a road trip over towards Adelaide, Keith monorail aside, Keith is the perfect place to stop because I have never had pub food like
That
how
food.
good that food was.
Oh my
It was
god, it was so good.
incredible. Came for the monorail, stayed for the pub food.
Let's
Hold
see how
on.
long of a walk it is from my house.
Hold on. Did you guys go just there for this thing?
Yes.
You
yeah.
say that like it's a weird thing.
No,
We-
I've done some weird things, but not that far of a trip. Did you drive or did
yeah,
you fly?
Both.
we flew
Oh.
and then rented a car. Yeah. So I was living in Sydney at the time. So yeah, flew from Sydney to Adelaide, rented a car with Kieran and one of our other friends, and we drove days actually. We did a full road
It
trip.
was a
visiting
multi-day
some other
road trip.
places.
Well,
What the
look, it's only 6 hours for us.
What to drive, Matthew?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if I've got the right one, let's go.
Okay.
I just want to put out there that it is the official opinion of this podcast that the Keith monorail is indisputably the best roller coaster in Australia.
100%.
So you're in for a treat.
Well, it's 6 hours. Look, I'm seeing from your house 5 hours. I think it's worth it. There and back in a day.
It's only 5 hours from my house. We live very far apart. An hour exactly, nearly. So,
I
this
think it's
thing
calling to
looks
you, really.
this thing looks janky as anything. The transitions are literally angle to flat to angle to flat. There's not even like a
Compared to Dragon
curve.
Express, what's it look like?
Oh, Dragon Express makes this look smooth. Actually.
You know, the funniest part about the Keith monorail is that like it's obviously just like a U shuttle, but because the ride itself is so small, you don't make it up the other side. So it's just you just kind of slide down and then that's it.
You get maybe a third of the way up the other side of the track, and then you just start to creep backwards again.
Maybe it needs a bit of
Oh, boy.
WD-40.
Yeah, what happens if you took that with you and just sprayed the whole track?
Ooh.
Oh, well, Luke, actually, because Luke and I, as saying, we were doing this video for Project Zero, and he found this giant tub of roller coaster grease.
Oh.
He's got a photo.
Oh no, but it was no. I'm pretty sure it said lube. That's why it was hilarious because
You've got a
it
photo of it. What's
I
it
do
called?
somewhere. Where is it? Oh no, but it's not. It won't be on my computer, Matthew.
I'd be
Isn't it on
making
your
that my
phone?
profile photo.
Oh. Yeah, Matthew, you want to go into a bit more detail about what you just said about the this video we're making?
At this video, Luke and I had this opportunity. We really just wanted to chat with the leading hand maintenance fitter at Gunby World, the guy who was responsible for basically building Project Zero.
Oh yeah.
And it turned into this really great opportunity. We pretty much spent 2 days with this guy, and he told us everything there is to know about Project Zero. We took all our cameras with us. We got some really cool footage. It's a very unique ride. I'm sure you guys are aware. The way that it works is just a bit different to a normal roller coaster, and so we got to go underneath the platform and film all underneath the train. We got to climb the tower and look at how it all works from up there. We're getting closer to getting the video done. I think we're maybe a couple of weeks off, Luke. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. We've been taking our sweet time, like because I don't know, we're
You're singing
Matthew and
my
I have had-
tune.
Yeah,
If you're
Matthew and
into
I.
as Luke said, if you're into like really nerdy mechanical, detailed sort of stuff, this should be really good because the Dalton, the maintenance guy, he knows his stuff with this ride.
That's awesome.
And turning notifications for Mitty Theme Parks right on.
Yeah, I'm very hard on myself and a bit of a perfectionist. I didn't think we were
He
going to
knocks
get
back
a good.
every draft.
Oh yeah. So I didn't think we were going to do such a great job, but I'm actually pretty pleased with what we've got. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah, like I think I surprised myself with what we've got.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Amazing.
One thing I
That is-
do admire about your channel is that you cover a lot of the smaller regional parks that not many other people cover. So it's a really good point of difference, which I quite admire. Because you don't really see a lot of content directed at things like fun fields or, Jamboree is another one of those regional parks that you just don't see many, obviously there's no coasters there, so enthusiasts don't cover it that much.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's a blessing of being away from the Gold Coast, isn't it? But no, it's been really good, and that's why Luke and I also wanted to do that trip through Sydney. The Gold Coast new roller coasters through that, a spanner in the works there. But yeah, we like checking out the smaller parks, and they've got, Luke was describing it really well. They've got like this different feel to them. They're not corporate at all. They're kind of very family like, and pretty much what I said with this roller coaster documentary we're doing there, they literally they'll open their arms and you say, "Oh, I want to film this," and they're like, "Come on in," and they're very welcoming to that sort of stuff, which is great.
That's what I found with Magic Mountain Marimbula. They were very friendly. They all wanted to have a chat. They were fine with filming on rides. Yeah.
Mm.
I've
So
just
it
received
is
the
that very
photo of the
family.
roller coaster lube.
Yep, yeah, it's good, eh? It's
Oh, where's this photo, Luke?
I don't know how to post it in this channel.
Ah.
Like, I don't think we
Hang
can.
on, I can do that
Can
for
we?
you.
Oh no, we can. Open chat. Oh, it's here. Oh,
Yeah,
hold on.
you can.
Can you do it?
post it
Can
in
you
our-
send it?
I can. Yeah,
Okay.
hang on.
Yeah, please do it.
I have to actually make sure I've got the file downloaded so I can, and then send it in here. And everyone enjoy roller coaster lube.
Track Lube Plus.
Oh, it's plus. It's so
environmentally friendly and water resistant. Yeah.
They've gone with the premium product.
It was so
not
good.
just
They've got-
original track lube.
Yeah, I don't know if Luke got a photo of it. There was like this page they had, and because the ride's made in Germany, it's got like all these German specific lubes for different parts of the ride, and it's like, use this one.
Oh, was it? Oh, I don't know. Do I still have that? Oh no. I'm looking through these photos now.
So for anyone who isn't familiar, roller coasters need a lot of lube.
This is actually true.
I wish you guys could see the size of this bucket. It's a very big bucket of Track Lube Plus.
It's at least like 2 hands high, if that makes sense. Like,
It's a
well, that
very
makes no sense.
weird unit of measurement.
Yeah, I feel
okay,
like we
I'm
need
gonna-
like something next to it for scale.
Oh no! Oh no! It was about 30 centimeters high. This bucket, I reckon.
Oh wow.
Like a ruler tall. Yeah.
That's a
Not-
lot of lube.
Oh, Project Zero. She's a tall, long. No, I can't say.
She's
Oh, that's
generous
tall
with the
ride.
lube. 'Cause
She's
she has
very,
to
very
be.
generous. Yeah.
That's a good ride. Did you guys ride it as like Kieran? I know you said you rode it as Project Zero, but did you both ride it as Buzzsaw?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
back
yeah.
in the day.
I wrote it as both. Yeah.
Oh, you've done it as Project Zero as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Yeah.
Did you notice any, like, did you think that the ride experience was any different? Or did you think it was the same roughness? And
It's because it had been such a long time between drinks. It was hard for me to sort of remember sort of how rough it was the first time at Dreamworld. So it'd just be me taking a stab in the dark as to sort of whether it was better or not. So yeah, but the theming wise, obviously, big difference. But yeah, as far as roughness goes, I don't recall Buzzsaw being overly rough. But Project Zero, there's a little bit of a rattle to it, but it's nothing that's not manageable.
The last time that I rode Buzzsaw before they closed it, it had started to develop a really bad series of potholes kind of down through the valley through the station. So it would shake really, really badly when you swung through the station. And I've noticed that well, at least the one time that I've been to Gumbaya World, I noticed that was not the case, although it did still like have a wee bit of a shuffle, but nothing awful.
Yeah, Dalton actually explains the shuffle a bit in our video. But yeah, I think it rides smoother, in my opinion. I don't know, Luke, if you would agree. There's definitely seats that you should pick. I went on the last row. Oh, not good. I wouldn't do last row. Yeah, Luke, what do you think?
It's again, it's been a long time since I rode Buzzsaw when we first rode it. So I thought Buzzsaw was pretty rough at the end of its life, or whenever I got to ride it last. And then we got our first ride in the front seat, and I think it was a lot. I remember riding it being like, "Oh, that's a lot better, a lot better." You could tell they did a lot of work, and everything was taken apart and put back together. So a lot of the tolerances of the wheels and new fresh wheels and everything being new obviously helped a lot. And they've been able to keep on top of that. It has gotten progressively a little rougher over the last 2 years, but if you sit in the first front 2 rows or in the front car, first 1, 2, 3 rows, you're going to have a pretty good ride. It's definitely still shuffles through the barrel roll, especially. But yeah, I find it okay in the like reasonable. It's no Dragon Express, thank God. But it's also no TNT. You've got like
Excellent for
TNT, one of the
cases.
Glass.
that is just unbelievably smooth compared to any other one of that's probably the smoothest coaster in Australia at this point.
Not until
But yeah.
Movie World opens up their version.
Yeah, they'll have a
Yeah.
nice schmick new one.
I know
That-
it's on the burial ground of Arkham Asylum, so I reckon the ghost of Arkham Asylum's rattle will possess it.
Ooh, spooky SLC.
Spooky.
I actually want to see if you guys have any information, being locals, that I don't. But the story that I've heard is that TNT is Flight of the Wicked Witch, and that Movie World had bought the ride, and then for various reasons, possibly including the pandemic, they pulled out and decided to delay the project. But the coaster had already been manufactured, and so then Gumbayawell picked it up at a cheap price. That's what I've heard. I don't know how much truth that has to it, because that's stories. So I don't know if you guys have your own thoughts on that.
Very interesting. Where'd you hear that?
Yeah,
I have
it
no
sounds
idea. It's just
sounds
one
like
of those.
we said that to somebody, and
Really? Okay. I don't remember where I heard it from. It's just one of those things I heard on the Thuzy grapevine and went, oh, actually, that makes sense, I guess.
you want to talk, Matthew, or not?
Oh, Luke, you can take it if you want.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct. That's what we've heard
Okay.
as well.
Right.
From
Total
a few different
Bearloni
sources.
exclusive.
Not really an exclusive at the moment. I'm pretty sure like a lot of Thusies in
You guys
Australia
told
would
us.
know this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
said
Are
it
we
first.
allowed to say that we know? Like, I don't know how much you're going to cut out of this. Hopefully a lot. We're allowed to say that we know this.
We've
We
never
don't know.
been officially told. We've just also heard similar rumors. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
It's never been like someone from Gumbaya World.
You're not
just
revealing
been
your
like-
sources.
Correct. So no one said like, yeah, oh, this is exactly what happened, and here's the contract, and oh look, no, it's just all been stories that we've heard as well. A lot of those stories have come from the Gold Coast people as well, like people who potentially work for Village and that sort of thing. So,
Because what I heard was TNT was in the works for a few years. So I don't know how long ago this contract supposedly was, but my understanding is that TNT is something they were working on for a while. Buzzsaw popped up for sale, and they went, oh, buy one get one free, and sort of put that on the end, and that's why the theming is a little bit different between the two. So I don't know, yeah, how old that contract might have been. Maybe there is truth to it.
I mean, we'll probably never know, but either way, if that is the case, I think it's an incredibly smart piece of business, because, like you said, it's almost they've got two very decent quality rides for the price of one.
Yeah, it definitely put Gumbaya World on the map.
yeah,
It's like a monorail.
Oh, you know, let's not overstate things.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day, and the park did the timing and everything kind of worked really well for them, and they've got like an SBF kiddie coaster. They got the next level up with TNT, which is a fantastic all rounder for all ages and a good family coaster. And then they've got Project Zero, which is it's the thrill coaster for the park. And for a small park like Gumbaya, it's a good like 1, 2, 3. for its age and for where it needs to be at this time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I would
but
say
we-
that if they had built Project Zero from new, like they'd bought that straight from Mara, I would be like, okay, that's a weird choice. But the fact that we know that it was Buzzsaw, it makes a lot of sense because it's a good, decent thrill ride, and they've obviously picked it up pretty affordably, which gives them a good opportunity for a park of their size, I think.
definitely no, it's a good lineup. But yeah, one thing that Luke and I've noticed over the years is middle of summer park is really really busy, and the roller coasters don't get as much of a line as their slide tower does. It's pretty insane how much people in Victoria love their water parks.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's something that that's a good topic to talk about actually, Matthew. Because there's not many Melbourne enthusiasts and sort of our state doesn't get much talk. One really interesting thing that we've noticed over the years is that yes, Melburnians love the water and they cannot wait for these water parks to open. And yeah, during the peak summer periods, like the slide tower at Gumbaya World will be just stupid waits, like an hour, hour and a half, and then the coasters
Really?
will be reasonable. And
Like half an
it
hour
kind of
most.
and it kind of begs the question. Well, there's a couple of things going on here. First of all, the slide tower is very badly designed in terms for capacity and all that sort of thing. But uh, I think there's just something about Melburnians being cold for most of the year, and when we get like 2 months of good summer weather, we just want to pretend we want to pretend that we're on the Gold Coast or something. I don't know. There's something about just us loving water parks because
Living your tropical fantasy.
correct, I think it is. And I don't
Mm.
know if you've also looked around Melbourne. There's a lot of aquatic centres with decent water slides hanging out the side of them. Like we've got three aquatic centres in Melbourne that all have two or more slides coming out of them. I'm not talking about just like body slides. We're talking the four-leaf clover raft slides coming out of them as well, which is bizarre. Like I think we've got more pro slides in our state than in Queensland. That's just really strange.
That is bizarre.
Yeah, it
I
is. And
guess your theory makes sense though, like that it would be really wanting to take advantage of those few summer months where the weather's good enough to be in pools or on water slides or whatever.
mm. And there's more coming. There's another one planned. I'm not sure if it got the go ahead or it's getting
Yeah,
further and further along.
yeah. There's the one
Um,
in Dingley, yeah.
Yeah, the Dingley Village one where it's like urban surf plus a indoor aquatic center and indoor/outdoor water park all in one. Massive, massive complex. If it comes true, but the council approved it, so all it requires now is for the people
Someone to
who
build
own
it.
the land to actually build it. So yeah,
Right.
very
Amazing.
interesting.
I
That's
do want to ask a
that's so
question.
interesting.
Um, what do you think? Which park in Victoria do you think is the most likely to get a new coaster?
You go
I
first,
think
Matthew.
I think World's hit its quota, to be honest. They definitely need to focus on their water park. So I think if there was one that was going to branch out, it'd be looking at fun fields, maybe. It depends what we're calling as a coaster. Like if you're looking at kiddie coasters as well, Adventure Park is probably a good candidate. But I think fun fields definitely need one. They have the water park covered very, very well. They've got 2 new attractions coming this season, which Luke designed. And
Oh,
yeah,
what?
I think
You
they
can't
just
just drop that.
yes, I can. And I think they need I think they need a few more dry rides to sort of round it out a little bit. Luke, the designer of the new Funfield attractions, do you want to answer next?
Uh, yeah. Um, does, Matthew, you can't
I'm
just drop
throwing him
that. I didn't
off.
know you were going to
He
say.
You had
actually,
to elaborate on that.
he
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
designed them.
So I'm not sure if you guys know, I did, if you know me other than just right now, you may have seen me on Park Chat Live many years ago um, as being interviewed as like a ride designer at the time. Um, but I did the theming and storyline and view design and the whole, I guess, thematic design for Voodoo, the Zamperla Discovery Revolution, the small version for Funfields. That was about 6 years ago. I've had a really good relationship with Funfields and their team there. It's a family operated park and very kind people, very lovely people. Um, I've worked there in operations as well, and they've recently with their new attractions they asked me to come on board and help with the conceptualizing of the theme for these two new attractions. So um, this is public knowledge. So they're getting a lazy river and a bumper car attraction. And so the story, or well, at least the names of the rides, attractions, and the overarching themes was done by myself in conjunction with Funfields. Nothing's ever done by. By the way, designers, whenever they say, "Oh yes, I did everything," that's never true. So I can't take all credit. I've definitely worked as a team with the Funfields team and other contractors to make it happen. So yeah.
But I think that's something to be congratulated. Let's give a round of applause.
Oh, where's the golf clap?
Yay!
If you got questions, like, fire away.
Oh,
There-
wow. It's a bombshell.
I don't
I
have any
actually
questions
haven't
to
been
ask
to
you.
I haven't been to Funfields, so I'm not too familiar. I do know that they have SeaWorld's old pirate ship there. That's one of the things that I know about it. But um, I I guess my question would be, what's it like working in that kind of for a park in that kind of capacity? Because what I suppose that's every Thuzy's dream job.
Yes, I think yeah, it is. It's been really really interesting. You learn a lot. My background as well is I studied product design engineering, so um, I have a degree in mechanical engineering, but it's not just all maths and science. It's also like industrial design. Um, so like I just didn't go in there and be like, "Hey guys, I'd like to design things." Like I had a bit of experience and a degree behind me as well. What's it like? So it is fun, but also frustrating. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a job. It's a job, and oh, somehow you got to make this sound like it's a good thing because nobody likes negative things on podcasts. I'm just trying to make it like I'm trying to speak real about it. Like with any job, and I'm sure with your job, Jake, at Luna Park, Sydney, like being some days opposite fantastic and great, and then some days just like oh my goodness, there's so much improvement that can be done here. Um, and yeah, like any job, there's good and bad. It's not rose. It's not just the best thing on planet Earth being a whatever theme park designer or whatever you want to call it. A lot of realities come into play. The reality is it's a business and there's a budget that everyone wants to spend, and that affects what the outcome is. And for a small regional park like Funfields, um, getting them to do something quite amazing or different or out there is challenging. It's challenging to convince, um, or persuade, or inspire a new direction. Um, but the good thing about it is because they're not corporate owned, and there's just a more intimate connection or a closer connection between myself and the owners of the park. So I can just say sort of whatever I'm thinking at the time, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool," or "Nah," rather than going through like 5 hierarchies of management, like at say Village Roadshow or even some like Dream World. So that's very cool. Being able to pitch ideas straight to the owner of the park or owners and get their feedback. Yeah,
That's
Oh,
awesome.
amazing. Yeah. We've got
thanks.
a real industry professional on the podcast.
So contract work is what I've been doing with Fun Fields and some other companies as well. We could do another podcast another time where we talk about the other work I've done. But yeah, this is not really about me. It's about Mitty. I feel like Mitty, you threw me under the bus, and now
You are
everyone's more
Mitty.
interested in. I am Mitty. Oh no!
He's not understanding this.
Oh, Matthew.
Get on the
I'm
MIDI
gonna.
bus.
MIDI is a concept. It's not a person.
Ah, yes. Matthew, I'm gonna punch you so hard after this. I don't think you're gonna believe.
What is
I'm both.
Mitty?
Yeah.
I was
The
thinking about my
Secret
channel
Life of Walter
name.
Mitty.
Literally that. If you search Mitty or Mitty Theme Parks, it comes up with the Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And you're like, that's not what I'm looking for.
uh, Mitty is this great universal. Just it's a state of mind, really. Mitty is it's a
I
way
like
of
it.
life.
Actually,
Yeah.
I like this. What happens if it's like the Gorillas? Like that music group that nobody knows who's in the band or not, and they always like chop and change, and yeah, that's what we are. It's just a consistently moving entity of people.
A rotating roster.
Yeah, pretty much.
That
Yeah,
sounds. I like that.
whenever we go to film something, I just grab as many people as I can. I give them all the camera, and I'm like, "You're all MIDI today." They don't get paid anything.
It's the ultimate way to get as much content as possible.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Join the
one guy
MIDI
that
army.
yeah, there's one guy that helped us. We really love him. But we filmed on some water slides, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to be in the video." I'm like, "Oh, you're in like 3 of the 4 angles."
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. One of our friends said that after we filmed all the content, and we're like, okay. So I guess we can throw out half of the stuff now.
Oh.
So now we know we just got to get your
Yeah.
consent before we give you the camera that you're happy to be in the videos.
That's
Nah, we love our friends. We love our friends very much.
Yeah, no, people have actually been because there's a few enthusiasts that we know in Victoria, which is great, and they've all been super excited because I said parks here are so open to us filming stuff. We did videos last year at Adventure Park in Geelong, and that's 4-hour drive away or 3-hour drive away, something silly for me. So yeah, we took Luke, was it 4 people? You and 3 others, 4 people, and we just filmed as much as we could all day. So they've all been very helpful towards the channel, which is great. Literally Mitty is a concept at this point. It's not just me.
Being that I am
Amazing.
about to do a trip to Adventure Park Geelong, what was the process like in getting permission to film there?
Super easy. I literally just emailed and I showed them some of my content and said, "Look, I'm coming down." They were so welcoming. It wasn't just like coming in. Everyone there was super nice, and they all knew. So it's sort of like the Gold Coast parks where they're not too keen on filming on rides, but if you get the permission beforehand, they were like, "Oh, you guys are Mitty Theme Parks. Are you filming? What are you filming?" And like we're going down the slide, and the operator's like shouting down the tube, like, "What's this gonna be on?" And you're like, "Oh, YouTube." So they're all really friendly over there. It's super easy process to, I think, contact them and express your interest.
Yeah, that would be my opinion as well, or strategy is give them plenty of time, like a month or a couple weeks. Send a really like, "Hi, we love theme parks. Love to film. Big Thuzy, big fan. Love your work," and then that they'll most likely come to the party. Like all, yeah.
Mm. We had a
Fun.
similar. We did a podcast with the guys from Perth Theme Parks, and they said something similar about like just let them know you're coming, and the worst thing they can say is nothing. And I've started doing that with almost every park I visit, with a few exceptions. Like I wasn't arrogant enough to try and email Europa Park or anything like that, but um, particularly when I went to New Zealand, I emailed both of those parks in advance, and they were both um, really, really friendly about it. Especially Crystal Mountain. They were, the owner wanted to meet me. The owner wanted to show me around and tell me the entire history of the park and everything that they had. And they were so, so lovely and welcoming.
Yeah,
The
that's
small
cool.
parks, just something different about
Yeah.
them. Even now, when we go to Gumbaya, Ron, who's the CEO, will be like, "Oh, boys," and he walks over and he's asking us questions and stuff. And yeah, it's just different. I mean, to Dreamworld's credit, Greg, their CEO, is much the same. The few times I've been there, he's waved at me and come and said hi, which is great.
Yeah. I agree. It's a small park attitude thing where they're just so welcoming and friendly. So it's great to hear that that's the case in Victoria as well.
No, very much so. They're all super, super keen to chat with you. And in Funfield's instance, even Gumbaya, they will ask your opinion, and they listen to it and they actually take it seriously. I think, yeah, it was an example at Gumbaya World. They did an event where Luke actually expressed his opinion on something that they were doing, and they changed it like a couple of days later. So
What did I say?
it was they were doing this winter event, like this light show, and originally it wasn't free for annual pass holders, but it was something that came out after the annual passes were being sold. So it wasn't like you bought the annual pass knowing you wouldn't get access to it. And essentially, you wouldn't get access to the park for those 2 weeks as an annual pass holder unless you paid entry to this event. And yeah, Luke was like, "Well, I don't know if that's the right thing to do." And yeah, a couple of days later, they changed their mind. They said everyone's welcome with an annual pass. It's free.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. But hold on, we do like I just didn't post this on their Facebook page or something, or like message the marketing department.
You wrote them a letter, posted it in the
I
mail.
didn't write them a letter. We know someone who works at the like at the park, so um, we went through. We told that person, and then that person like brought it up in a meeting, and then it so happened that they decided to change it. So yeah, but yeah, even that sort of thing is unheard of. Maybe I should say maybe on the Gold Coast. You know that like why would they listen to enthusiasts kind of deal?
Yeah, to
I
be
don't
able to
know.
get that actual correspondence back is, yeah. I do think that it's quite cheeky of them to have come up with this Wizard of Oz land right when they're releasing the Wicked movie.
Cheeky? What do you mean? That's been their strategy since like 1999. Line up,
Yeah.
pick a theme that's lining up with the release of a movie, and that's essentially how every single ride except for DC Rivals was themed.
It's pretty smart
I mean,
though.
yeah, when you think about it, the Superman Escape, there was that Superman movie coming out in that summer, I think.
Oh, the one they
Correct.
shot in
Yeah.
Newcastle.
What was it? It was the one that was really,
Superman
really bad.
Returns.
Superman. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that was god awful. But the ride was good, so that's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. That's good. Yeah.
Is Superman going to last very long with King Dakar's rumored demise? What are
Oh,
your
this is
thoughts?
a juicy topic.
Yeah, we were
talked
talking
about
about
this
this with
with Riley.
That's so new, but yeah, because
Yeah.
now the rumors are getting even louder. Like all I'm seeing on Instagram is "Go ride King Dakar, go ride King Dakar," and I'm like, oh, it's not good for Superman.
Well,
yeah, even the comment sections are lighting up in those videos.
what I will say, I was saying this on our Discord last night, because Taylor and Sarah from Coaster Studios just released their vlog from their spontaneous impromptu visit to Six Flags Great Adventure, where they went specifically because they were hearing these rumors and were like, right, okay, we need to get there and get last rides. And the way that they're talking about it, it's gone so far beyond the point where they'll be able to backtrack if they're wrong. It's it's at the point where they are so 100%, the way they're talking about it, they're 100% convinced. They're saying you can believe us or you can not believe us, but get there and write it because it's going. And I just don't see that a channel of that magnitude who consider themselves to be like decent Thuzy news sources. I don't think they'd put their reputation on the line like that. Like if it was just a rumor, they'd maybe acknowledge it and just say, but it might not be true. But they've made repeated videos, repeated posts, and they sound so certain to the point that if they were wrong, they've got a big backlash coming. So I think it's probably true. I just don't think that the people with that kind of reputation would be putting their necks out for something that they weren't absolutely sure about. So I think Kingda Ka's going, and I think unfortunately, the hydraulic launch coasters they're gonna be
Dying
they're gonna be
breed.
disappearing. Yeah.
Because Superman had at the start of this year, was it? Quite a significant downtime.
Yeah.
To the
I
point where they said
understand.
they were in contact with Intamin about it.
Yeah, and things happen that might be totally unrelated, but surely if there's less and less of these rides, there's going to be less and less of these parts, and we're going to go in the direction of Tower of Terror, where we can fix it, but how much do you want to pay us to fix it for you?
Yeah. Well, Intamin, they don't build them anymore, so the parts probably have to be. If you need the part, it probably has to be designed from and manufactured from scratch. And I can't imagine that's a particularly cheap thing to ask Intamin to do. So I guess eventually it will become a. Has it outlived its service life? Is it worth spending the amount of money to keep it alive? And I just don't know what they would. Yeah, I don't know what they would do because they don't have the option to do. Just because of the fact that the first half of the ride is indoor, they don't really have the option to do a swing launch kind of thing like the way they did with Top Thrill Dragster. So I think
No.
it will probably unfortunately just get removed.
Yeah, because the launch is pretty short. Go ahead, Luke.
I have a different take on this. I think the bigger ones are like, we know that the Intamin rocket coasters or hydraulic launch coasters have always been a maintenance nightmare, or they need heavy amounts of maintenance, and potentially it's very costly. The two big ones, the Top Thrill Dragster and Kingda Ka, or maybe even Formula Rosa to some, because that thing's down as well. It's like all three of them.
It's also. I don't think this is confirmed, but it's not coming back. Formula Rosa's probably going to get magnetic launch installed. The lucky thing for them is that it doesn't have a big tall top hat, so I think they're just going to install a magnetic launch, and it'll just be the same ride, but it won't have its top speed anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's fair enough for that one. It's very, very easily retrofittable. But yeah, I think the big ones, maybe, we're going to see them either get taken down. Like, I really can't believe this Kingda Ka thing. It's an icon.
Denial phase at the moment.
I am still in denial phase because I haven't ridden it. I also didn't get to do Top Thrill Dragster. It's a bit sad that I didn't get to do the two big ones. But that's okay. It's not all about me, as every entitled Thuzy. But what was going? My point is, I think the smaller ones have a greater chance of living on longer. Say like Accelerator, Knott's Berry Farm, that was down for a couple of years, and they got it back up and running, and now it's doing quite well, more reliably now again, from what I've seen and heard. Superman is still going. It hasn't been, for the whole life of Superman, I don't think it's been down like for an extended period of time, like Accelerator, say like a year or 2 years. It's only been down for its normal maintenance periods. And then you've got other ones around the world, like I don't know, that one that just got moved over to America from Sweden. or Canon it
Yeah,
was
but it
called, or
yeah,
yeah,
the Matagani, yeah.
yeah, that one,
Yeah.
that one, and like that's still running, and that got torn down and rebuilt, and that's a smaller one. And what else? There's a couple other ones around the world that are still going. Um,
There's another one
Speed.
though that could be a signal of what's going to happen. They moved one. It used to be Senza Fiato in Italy, and it got moved to Canada. And that park decided to Zamperla it. They got Zamperla in to retrofit it with new trains and with magnetic launch. And from what I've heard, because it only opened very recently, um, from what I've heard, it's pretty good and it's doing fine. So it appears that Top Thrill 2 is a blip, probably because Zamperla haven't tried to do anything that ridiculous before. And it could become a trend that these things get either retrofitted with magnetic launchers or changed in some other way.
I don't think I would completely explain my point. Basically, I was going to say that I think Superman eventually could be converted to magnets without
Mm.
without doing a swing launch. You'd have to probably do some crazy retrofitting of the um, the lead into the spike. So you have to put magnets potentially halfway up the top hat. Um,
Mm.
and I think as we go, as the years go on, the technology is getting slowly better and better, and closer to that hydraulic launch um, uh, speeds of acceleration. And I don't think we'll ever match it exactly, but I think maybe with a combination of lighter trains and improved technology in say 5 to 10 years' time, I think it could be possible.
I think they've invested so much in not only Superman, but also putting Flash Speed Force right in its footprint. I think it would be they would be very reluctant to completely get rid of the ride. So they would want to
Yeah,
do some kind of retrofitting.
I definitely hope
Such a
you're right.
good ride.
It is such a good ride.
Yeah, like in the
Mm.
last 10 years, if you think about it, the technology of magnets is just ridiculous. Like the change in like if you go from like what Voltron opened this year
Mm.
or last year, was it? This year. No, it opened this year.
This year,
And
yeah.
then what's 10 years ago now? 2014. There was nothing
Oh
like
god, oh, the ravages of age. That
Yeah,
just
what opened
happened.
2014? Was Blue Fire open then? I think it was. Yeah,
It
like Blue
was,
Fire
yeah.
in Europa Park. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like the systems are getting better and better and better. That's yeah.
They definitely are, yeah. Um, they're improving rapidly. Um, there's one that I rode in Vietnam called Wrath of Zeus, which I will say that magnetic launch had kick that reminded me very much of Intamin hydraulic launches. I didn't think it was
Oh
as
wow.
powerful, but it was definitely weaker than the Intamin hydraulic launches, but the way it kicked from a standing start was it took the wind out of your chest. It was very, very sudden and powerful. And it accelerated up to I think it's like 115 k's an hour. So it's 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 the technology is improving. It definitely is. I agree. By the way, that park also has a clone of TNT, but it's indoors with lighting effects and theming.
I think I've
This
seen, yeah.
park, I told Matthew about this park, and
Mm.
about that. I was like, that's crazy. That might it was good.
It's
Did you get to ride it?
it's Yes, I did, and it's incredible. And that whole park is
Oh,
absolutely baffling, and I don't know what it's doing there because this island is very like it's got resorts and stuff on this island. It's considered like a beach destination, but it's very thinly populated. Um, but then it's got these two theme parks. One's a water park that's just built a brand new wooden coaster, and then they've got this park, which is I kid you not when I say it's like a slightly scaled down Disneyland. The theming is incredible.
that's
Such an
insane.
insane park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of investment into tourism in Vietnam from what I've seen lately, like
Mm.
tourist, like theme parks and resorts and that sort of deal.
Yeah, it's a. I would highly recommend a visit if you ever get the chance. It is an incredible park, and those two coasters especially were really, really good. Um, yeah, but I do think the magnetic launches are improving. They tend to need a lot more track length to get up to those kinds of speeds, but as the technology improves, hopefully it would become possible. Because I don't think Movie World wants to get rid of Superman. I don't think anyone at all wants them to either. So if they can keep it
There are
around in
other
some way,
rides they should be getting rid of.
yeah,
Doomsday.
yes, there, yes.
Oh,
Oh God, that thing.
that's
My
okay.
favorite
Um,
ride.
It's what the guests wanted, though.
yeah,
The guest
yeah,
wanted to do a half a loop.
Sorry, that's right. Yeah.
yeah.
Based on customer feedback, we're giving you
Yeah.
half a ride.
Oh no.
um, we should probably start wrapping it up. We have gone for almost an hour and a half. So before we go, I want to give you guys an opportunity if someone is finding out about Mitty Theme Parks for the very first time here. What do you guys do, and how can they find you?
Oh, look, I did our intro. Do you want to do our outro?
Oh no. Okay.
Pressure's on.
What are we gonna say? Well, we do a lot of content creation for all the socials, all the social pipes. And I don't know what else do we do, Matthew. Matthew, this is
I think
yours.
just keep. No,
This is what you.
we try to we're trying to do stuff that other channels aren't doing, and we're hoping this new video is really going to pave the way for our future. So, as I said, it's going to be like a 40-minute documentary is what it's looking to be like on Project Zero and everything on it. So if you're into that sort of thing, keep your eyes peeled because we're hoping to post that shortly. But yeah, we've got other fun content. As you said, we've got lots of great pogs on there. We've got off-ride videos. We've got a few different random videos talking about things and hoping to do some more.
Lovely. So Mitty
Awesome.
Theme Parks on which social platforms? YouTube and
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I think that's it.
perfect. Make sure you go and check them out on all of the social media platforms that you participate in, all of the places where your data's getting harvested and all that. In the meantime, also go and find Maloney's Coasters and Ejector Bear Time on YouTube as well. Give us a subscribe. And of course, follow, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on. And until next week, this has been a total bunch.
A total bunch of
of
baloney.
baloney.
What a bunch.